Welcome to another episode of Connect the Dots. Today I'm joined by Deryck. Deryck, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about Richardson Marketing Group and some of the other businesses that you have?
Sure. So Richardson Marketing Group, we started as a lead company just for insurance agents. So providing leads for, your State Farm agents, farmers agents, Allstate agents, etc. We've since kind of grown up a little bit over the last 11 years, and so we now provide leads for home services guys, so windows, roofing, siding, gutters, bath, HVAC, etc. Do a little bit of digital marketing. When you have the word marketing in your title, you sometimes get some organic traffic asking for
Of
some of
course.
the new school digital stuff, but we really stick to lead gen and really the cost first approach. So how can we lower your cost per acquisition as a company, right? So we're not looking to sell $300 leads. We're looking to sometimes sell leads for less than a dollar, if the situation calls for it. But, if you have a lead company and you know how to grow insurance agents, book of business, why not open up an insurance agency? And so I did that 10 years ago. Freedom
Nice.
Direct Life Insurance Services operates out of this office as well. So both of those businesses operate out of here. And I'm just a true serial entrepreneur, Jack. So, we do small business consulting under the brand 6205. And that sounds bigger than what it is. What we really do is we take guys who have an idea and then we show them how to get that idea to fruition fast and how to
Yeah.
make them look grown up fast. So 800 numbers, virtual assistants in the Philippines or Mexico or Jamaica. There's nothing like a mobile detailer to have calls go to his cell phone voicemail box, right?
Yeah.
You call an 800 number, somebody picks up the phone, and can book an appointment because you've got a calendar and it costs you less than that you're going to make on one job. Now all of a
Yeah.
sudden you can scale pretty fast. So when I say small business consulting, it's not like we're going into small businesses like mine and really showing them how to scale from, 3 million to 10 million. We're taking guys with an idea who are brand new to entrepreneurship, showing them how to really become entrepreneurs. And oftentimes we invest in those companies. So I have more than 10 companies in my portfolio as an investor as well.
Nice. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one missed call to them could cost them X amount of money. So that sounds fantastic in terms of return of investment. What inspired you to starting for example, the Richardson Marketing Group?
Yeah, so funny story. So I was a teacher long, long time ago, and I wasn't making any money as a teacher. So what I would do is I'd get home pretty early. I taught high school, so I was home by 4, have some dinner with my family, do homework with my kids. But I was calling home improvement companies out of the yellow pages. Some of your viewers may not even remember the yellow pages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And oftentimes they had ads saying, free quote for siding, let's say. So I call them up and say, hey, looks like you give free siding quotes. How many do you close out of 10? Right? I'm kind of pumping their sales egos a little bit. I close 5 out of 10. I close 6 out of 10. Right? Well, awesome, because we sell quotes. They're $50 a piece. You just do it in a 10 lead increment. And, if it works, great. You sign up again. If it doesn't work, you lost $500. And I sent them a PayPal invoice. I didn't even have an LLC. I'd close the yellow pages and open the white pages, right? You want a free quote? You want
Bang,
a
ba
free
bang.
quote? And just pounded the phones after school and in the summertime. And I started making more money doing that than teaching. So
Nice.
I went on my own for a little bit, but then things got tough for kids, mortgage, all that kind of stuff. And I took a job at a lead company that was doing digital marketing. So they were doing before Facebook had met us. This is 2009. So they're doing paid Google, paid Yahoo, paid Bing, and really learned how they were doing it from the digital side. And then I bounced back out on my own once I kind of put all those things together.
Nice. And you've obviously probably got a lot of proud moments. What has been one of your proudest moments as a business owner so far?
Yeah, so my proudest moment is we are a 3-time best place to work here in Columbus, Ohio. So, I
Nice.
am nothing without my employees. I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day, sure, I'm going to school at 7 a.m. and getting home at 4 and pounding the phones and really grinding, but there's no way we could do the amount of business that we do here without my team. And so to give back to them for really building this company, we take good care of them. So we've got a video game nook room over here, a pool table room. We got TVs all around the office for the game. We do
Nice.
team builders and things like that. And so that's my proudest moment. is to really be a best place to work and have the employees really enjoy coming to work. And oftentimes they enjoy being here when
Yeah,
things are stressful than being at home, which is nice.
yeah. They create an amazing environment to be in. I'd love to get your opinion on marketing has changed dramatically over the last, decade, even in the last couple of years with AI. What is some of the biggest shifts that you've seen in the last, let's say a few years?
Yeah, AI is taking over. So, again, as a lead generation company, we have several partners or really clients that we call partners that will buy our leads and then they're rewarming them up or doing SMS campaigns or doing telemarketing campaigns using AI. And AI is really changing the face of how marketing is working. So I'm starting to get caught up to speed on some of that stuff, but I'm still an old school guy. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
What do you think that businesses still get wrong when it comes to marketing?
they don't follow up on their leads. Number one, it takes 8 to 12 touches of a lead to until they buy. You'd be surprised how many people are buying a lead. Let's say they buy 20 fresh leads in a week, 20 next week, right? So you got 80 in a month, and then they've forgotten about the ones from last month. That
Yeah,
consumer didn't forget that they wanted your product. That consumer may have just got overwhelmed. Timing is everything. So you got to
yeah,
keep your pipeline working. And so that's the number one mistake is not following up with leads. It takes time, energy, money to generate leads.
yeah.
And if you're not following up on them, you're really losing a lot of money out of the back door.
What would you say the main challenges between B2B companies face that are different maybe to business to consumer? Is there a difference there?
There's a big difference. The biggest one is, you don't have a gatekeeper when you're dealing with business to consumer. So, if you're not well versed on how to get through a gatekeeper or building a rapport with the gatekeeper, that's part of those 8 to 12 touches, right?
Of course.
Then you can never get to the decision maker. So I always tell my guys that there's five main pieces of a phone call. We do a lot of business to business telemarketing here. So we're reaching out to these companies via phone, via cold call. The number one is the gatekeeper. If you can't get past the gatekeeper, you'll never get to a hello, And if you don't get to
Yeah,
a hello from the decision maker, you can never make a sale. So yeah, big difference.
absolutely. And you're obviously a serial entrepreneur. What is your biggest lesson been from running multiple agencies?
This is not going to ever be easy. I've seen a lot of what I call entrepreneurs, and the biggest mistake that I've seen from people who have started businesses and have gone back to working a 9 to 5 is that they didn't manage themselves well. So you'd be surprised how many people will work their business from 11 to 2 and they're playing golf or they're, doing whatever they do in their spare time. It doesn't work, it's not working, and then go work a 9 to 5 where you got to work 9 to 5. You know,
Yeah,
I have an office. I've always had an office. During COVID, when we shut down and we had to get out of the office, I was going crazy because I can't manage myself at home, right? My office is for work and my home is for home. And starting a business, oftentimes, especially after COVID, we realize that we don't need offices, and so many people are starting businesses from home and can't really separate home life
yeah.
from the work life. That's huge. But this thing isn't easy. And so my number one piece of advice is get good at handling hard. Get good at handling hard.
Yeah,
Get very
yeah. See, Alex Emosi said it sucks, and it sucks again.
that's right. So, yeah, it does. But I'd rather it suck for myself than have it suck for somebody else. I mean, I don't
Exactly.
know that I've ever been as happy as I've ever been
Oh, massively.
working for somebody else, right? I mean, you have the same stress, you have the same everything, but you don't have any
Yeah,
ownership, right? So yeah.
absolutely. What advice would you give somebody starting their own agency today?
Discipline number one. Come up with
Yeah, I
your
love that.
plan.
Yeah,
Come up with your plan, but don't have your brain slow you down. So literally my first book is called Go Play, the ultimate roadmap to winning the game of life. And the reason why it's called Go Play is because when we were kids and mom was cooking in the kitchen and we walked in, she didn't say anything but go play. And we
yeah,
didn't say, should I play with Legos? Should I get a puzzle out? Should I go knock on Johnny's door? We just got out of the kitchen and we went to play. And as adults, we overthink that, right? So
yeah,
when we talk about playing as starting a business, oftentimes people will sit and just think and think and think and think and think, and they don't go play. They don't do anything, right? So number one piece of advice for anybody out there who's starting a business or starting an agency, sure, come up with your plan, but then go to work on your plan, go play,
yeah,
do it.
yeah. It's like analysis paralysis.
100%.
And we have a lot of, you've touched on some great advice. We have a lot of C-suite, a lot of founders listen, but we also have a lot of younger professionals. Do you have any advice for our younger audience who are maybe thinking about getting into an entrepreneurship, starting a business? Do you have any advice for our younger professionals?
Yeah, so start it part time if you can't afford to do it full time, because the pressure of money is real. That will
Yeah.
also help you with your discipline. And oftentimes you're going to find out if you can do this or not simply because you get off at 5 and you still got to go to work for yourself, right? From 5:30 to 9 p.m. or however long you're working on your business. Start it part-time if you can't afford to do it. Don't just sit there and think about it, because, one of these days equals none of these days, right? If you keep saying I'm going to do it one of these days, I mean, how many ideas have we had that we never acted on, and then you see somebody
Yeah.
else did it and you're like, that was my idea. And the only difference is you didn't act, right? So
Yeah.
so you don't necessarily have to jump right away if you can't afford it, but you do need to put some time and energy behind it. And you need to be really good at being disciplined on doing that every single day. Can't work on it for 2
100%.
hours a week. You're not gonna go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You got to put in the reps, and more reps. Without naming names, do you have a success story or, something that you'd like to share? You don't have to name drop a client if you don't feel comfortable, but do you have a success story you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, so I don't mind name dropping him because he's on our website. So, Donnie Albert, Farmers Insurance Agency out of Atlanta, Georgia. Back when I was still on the phones with the guy, that I don't make many calls anymore, but we used to have what we call power hours, where literally,
Yeah.
you're not on your phone, you're not going to the bathroom, right? You tell your wife, hey, I'm unavailable for the next hour. And we just pound the phone. And of course, there were spiffs and rewards that you got for whoever won that power. And I used to just love putting on a show because, I've been on the phone for even before I was a teacher. My job in college and in high school both was telemarketing. So I've just been on the phone for a
Nice.
very long time. And, I'm putting on a show with Donnie. I mean, I'm just talking about old school boiler room. Do you want to be a lion or a mouse? You gotta make sure you use our leads. You don't need leads. You have a Maserati in your driveway, because if you don't have a Maserati, you don't have enough leads, where you're not working them properly, one of the two, and I'm just putting on a show in front of my guys. And Donnie ends up hanging up on me. And, happens, especially back then when it was more, sort of aggressive telemarketing tactics.
Yeah, it
We
was.
don't do that so much anymore. But uh, but he calls back and he says, "Man," he said, "I just checked out your website." He goes, "You're the owner?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "And you're black?" Donnie's black. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I apologize for hanging up on you, man. I love to support small businesses. I love that you're the owner on the phone, and I love that you're an African American. Let's give it a shot." Donnie's been with us for 11 years now.
Wow, that is insane. That is
Yeah, yeah,
what a story that is,
yeah.
and good for him as well because a lot of CEOs and business owners don't want to get into the trenches and they don't want to, and I think that creates a fantastic culture as well, an environment where nobody's better than anybody. We're all we're all one cohesive unit. What's next for Richardson Marketing Group?
AI. AI, we're in the process of building out a system right now that's going to take our leads and rewarm them up just like these young guys are doing. And we've hired a development team to work on that. And so hopefully by Q4, that will be launched, and we'll get into the new age of this marketing thing. But so far, what we do still works. But I see so many of my clients anyway taking our leads and then having a separate system that they're using to rewarm up the leads.
Yeah,
Especially when we're talking about aged leads, we saw a lot of aged leads. So,
yeah,
rather keep that money in house. So we got to go to work and build a system to accommodate the old leads and rewarm them up using AI.
yeah. Reactivation campaigns and all. Where can people connect with you and learn more about Rich's Marketing Group and the rest of your businesses?
Yeah, so DeryckRichardson.com is the easiest place to go. My name is spelled a little funny, Deryck, Richardson, DeryckRichardson.com, man.
Nice. Deryck, thank you so much.